Hey guys, welcome back. Uh, just wanted to show a little stack of stuff that I pulled out of a long box. Uh, and I think I've mentioned this before a few times. I've got a lot of boxes of what I call post Bronze Age stuff that I'm trying to organize, and I'm having a lot of fun. I'm just kind of enjoying the process. It's still going to take a while, but you start going through your boxes of stuff you haven't seen in a while, and it's always a lot of fun. Uh, just wanted to say congratulations again to Brother Higgy. He is a grandpappy now, and I know him and his wife are over the moon about it. And what's cool about that is there's his little granddaughter was born on the same day as my grandson, so we got the same birthdays, practically family. And a big thank you for all you guys that showed up on Comic Book Memories this morning. Always glad to see everybody in chat and talk about childhood comics and toys and TV shows, and just it's just a place to we just get to hang out, so it's a lot of fun. So appreciate everybody that comes and joins in and watches, or participates in the chat. So I know Rod and I both are really grateful for that. So I'll just start going through some stuff, just some odds and ends. You know, just I think these are mostly DC, or maybe all DC. I think it was like half DC and half Marvel, and I don't think there was anything of note as far as the Marvel stuff, but I just wanted to show some stuff from the post bronze to modern era, or maybe late. I guess you call it late bronze. This is actually probably late bronze, but I found just about my whole run of The Outsiders. If you guys remember this series by Mike Barr and Jim Aparo. Uh, After in DC when the crisis happened, and then they kind of restarted everything, and then even before that, when they kind of went to what they called the Baxter paper, I always loved the way these comics looked, uh, and the colors and everything, and just this one was about falling apart, but I've got another copy. But anyway, just a lot of things about the crisis. It was sad. The characters that got killed or got changed, or the Earths that disappeared or whatever. But there's a lot of good stuff came out after that, and I'm actually kind of reacquainting myself with why did I buy this stuff. So it's just just it's a good. It's kind of cathartic for me, I guess, to use a word. But I always thought this series was cool. Gotta love Jim Aparo. I have ever since I saw him doing stuff for Charlton and doing Aquaman and Phantom Stranger and Batman and Brave and Bold and Batman Detective and all that stuff. So cool series. There's number 3. Here's the last couple of series. I think Barr and Aparo were off of it by then. Well, I think Barr was still writing it, but we had Eric Larson coming in. These are the last 2 issues, 27 and 28. Millennium crossovers. Pretty cool. Eric Larson, who went on to fame at Image Comics for doing Savage Dragon. And of course, he did a lot of stuff for Marvel, did some Spider-Man stuff over there. And here's a good, cool series. I've got this one. I think it was a Prestige series. Love Black Hawk. And as far as Millennium, the actual title itself wasn't all that great, but a lot of the crossovers were good. And I really enjoyed them. So 27 of Outsiders. Here's 28, the last issue, The Final Stand against the Manhunters. And you got an advertisement for another 4-issue miniseries, Cinder and Ash. Yeah, this was a good one. Jerry Conway and Garcia Lopez. Good story and art. And we have the Outsider Special. This was part of a 2-part story where they crossed over with Infinity Company. So this is special number 1. I think Infinity Company had a special, and it just kind of all went in with that. This is by Mike Barr and Chuck Patton. I think Bob Smith did the inks. I love Chuck Patton's artwork. Did a lot on the new Teen Titans and Justice League. He really had a great run. So here's Baron Bedlam. That's pretty cool. You got looks like the Force of July down there, the Infinitors and the Outsiders. So good story. Found a lot of my Doom Patrol run from the 80s. Found issue 1. The Doom Patrol comes back again. This is really cool, and I love Steve Lytle's art. And Paul Kupperberg did the scripts. And I forgot I'd even had this. This was Catwoman #1 of a 4-issue miniseries from '89. And this, I guess you could kind of call this a companion piece to Batman Year One, because it's the same character and kind of shows what was going on with her at that time. And those of you that have read Batman Year One, you know which part I'm talking about there. So I'm not even sure if I've got the rest of these, but I read this again actually last night, and it was a really good story. Who did this? Mindy Newell and J.G. Birch and Michael Bayer did the art. So pretty cool. One of my absolute favorite characters. This was a 3-issue mini. Here is book 2 of Adam Strange. I guess this came out around 90, 91 maybe, with Andy Kubert on the art. Art looks a lot like Papa Joe's work, doesn't it? But I love this character. I love the art, and I love the story in this. One of my favorite Adam Strange stories. The other 2 issues are in the box. And found a pile of my original Starman, which I've been finding those everywhere for some reason. But here's one of my favorite issues. Starman #11, the 94 series. Got a great, awesome JSA cover, along with the Shade and the Ragdoll, Tony Harris. Love this story. It's kind of a flashback when they were fighting Ragdoll. And something of note here, a friend of mine that I used to work with actually has the original art to this double-page spread by Matt Smith. Harris didn't do the art on the interiors, but I just thought this whole thing was cool. You got the JSA back in the 40s. But he's got the original art to this, and I thought that was a really great piece to have. And speaking of Tony Harris, there's a couple issues from one of his JSA Liberty Files. Here's issue 2, 5, and 6 of JSA Liberty Files, The Whistling Skull. It's good stuff. Love the story and art. The Liberty Files thing was like an Elseworlds when it started with the JSA, and this is kind of a JSA story, but pretty good stuff by B. Clay Moore and Tony Harris. Issue 5. And issue 6. And found issue #1 of Infinite Crisis, Fight for the Multiverse. This is based on the video game. Some pretty cool stuff in here. Anytime somebody says alternate worlds or different universes or multiverse or whatever, I'm going to be all over it. I don't know if I have any more issues of this title, but that was pretty cool. And here we got a 100-page spectacular. Not those 100-page spectaculars, but this is from January 2011. DC Comics presents Brightest Day, 100-page spectacular. Got some Firestorm action going on there, and John Jones, the Marshmallow Hunter, Higgy. Just some good art and good stories. Got Blue Beetle and Booster Gold in this one. Of course, the Martian Manhunter. Got Wonder Woman. I think these were reprinted. Another one. Yeah, because I remember when Jamal Igle was doing the art on Firestorm. What is this reprinted from? This was originally from Firestorm 11, 12, and 13. And Martian Manhunter 11 and 24 from 1999, 2000, 2005. And speaking of Jamal Igle, I actually met him at a con. Really nice guy. I wish I could have afforded to buy some of his artwork. Here's a page with the Justice League International in it. Pretty cool. And here's an Infinite Crisis crossover, The Last Adventures of Superman. So this is actually the last issue of the Adventures of Superman. It's got the original Superman and Lois and Superboy Prime, and it all ties in with Infinite Crisis. So really enjoyed that story. Really good crossover. Got some Swamp Thing. Jamie Delano and art by Mandrake and Alfredo Alcala. So I love everybody talks about the Alan Moore run, and that's great, and I love it. But some of the stuff after by Rick Veitch and some of those people, and some of the stuff before Alan Moore that Martin Pascoe wrote and Tom Yates did the art was really good. So, but yeah, it's this is one I'm continually trying to find the missing issues to. But I got to find out which issues I have missing first. One of my favorite Flash covers. We have another Vandal Savage and Flash of Earth 1 and Earth 2. What number is this? Flash 229 of the second series. So I'm sure this is Wally. But we got my man Jay Garrick over here. And everybody remembers the Countdown from DC, probably around 2007, 2008. This is Countdown Special, The Atom, number 1. And these are actually reprints from Super Team Family from back in the 70s. You guys that read that title remember Adam's wife was lost in space and time, and he'd always get to the end and seemed like he was just going to be able to get her, and then she would disappear or she would go crazy and go into another dimension or somebody kidnapped her. But these are like the characters that he teamed up with. You got Flash and Supergirl and Hal Jordan. I think first issue special 11 and 12 is reprinted in this. And here's special number 2 with Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and who else? Hawkman. There's Hawkman Higgy. And this reprints Super Team Family 13 and 14, I do believe. I could be wrong about that, about the numbers, but I don't. Anyway, it's the Adam's Quest story or whatever. Pulled this one out just because I like the cover by Sam Keith, Detective Comics 655. I always like Sam Keith's art. I didn't really see it till he was doing, I guess, the Max for Image Comics. But then I had to go back and get some of the covers and stuff that he did. And here we have Detective Comics 601 by Alan Grant, Norm Breyfogle, and Steve Mitchell. I was always a big Norm Breyfogle fan. I really loved his art. And Detective Comics 595. This is an Invasion crossover. Invasion First Strike Extra. Batman going against those nasty Thanagarians. Did you know about this, Higgy? Did you know what you guys were doing then? But a good crossover, and it's got a bonus book. Not sure what it is. And this is a favorite. I love the animated series, and the comic book version was really great too. This is Batman the Brave and the Bold, based on the animated series. It's great stuff. There you got Toyman and the Clock King in this one. I think Green Arrow shows up in this. And here we got Batman and Zatanna number 12. Just good superhero fun. Nothing that's going to involve a 12-story or a 12-issue arc or anything. Got Batman and Zatanna. Got Kane from the House of Mystery. There's always several characters in here. Let's see who else we got. Got Dr. Destiny in this one. And who else? Got to be somebody else. Oh, look. Looks like we got Mr. Mixelplick in this one. Or Mixyezpidlik, however you want to pronounce it. And who else? Got Clarion the Witch Boy showing up. Jack Kirby creation. And oh, here's a few different characters. Yeah, but the book, like the cartoon, is a whole lot of fun. If you like the Batman team-ups. And here is number 11, teaming up with Jonah Hex. Very cool. And people, you will have to let me know, does anybody that is watching this remember the Blasters? Blaster Special, number 1. And here's our good old buddy, Snapper Carr. Teamed up with a bunch of people in space, and they had their own little crew out in space. And I don't know if you ever heard from them again. I'm not sure. Somebody have to tell me. But this is a Blaster Special number 1. This came out of the Invasion series, that crossover. So, good old Snapper, right? Pulled this one out just because I thought it was so funny. I like this character, and I'm not even sure he ever showed up again. But this is in like the second or third series of Mr. Miracle from the 80s. And here's Mr. Miracle going against Maxi Man. I don't know, kind of sounds like a feminine hygiene product to me, but he was just this goofy character, and he was trying to prove himself. You know, it was one of those sort of things, and he kind of turned out to be a good guy in the end. But you know, his suit looks like an amalgam of like 3 or 4 different superhero suits. I always thought the name Maxi Man was awfully funny. So for this reason, I love that book. And here's a couple I forgot I'd even had. And these are picking up traction price-wise, but or have been for a while. Or at least this one has. Let's put it that way. You got Batman 423 with Todd McFarlane cover. And I think it's probably just because of that this cover is so famous. But you got Jim Starlin writing, Dave Cockrum on the pencils, and Mike DiCarlo on the inks. So can't go wrong there. And that is a really nice cover. Batman 423. And this one, I had kind of been looking for it. And I knew I had it. And I said, because I wanted to see read that story again. But actually, this is a Spectre 3rd series. I guess this is 3rd series. Got a great John Corbin cover. And for all you Justice League fans, and I know Eric Kay and Rod and Higgy, and probably a lot of you other guys that's read Justice League back in the 70s and early 80s, there was a JSA team-up. I think it was 171, 172. And in that story, Mr. Terrific, the original Mr. Terrific, got killed. Well, they found out that there was a villain called the Spirit King that was inhabiting Jay Garrick. And while he was in Jay Garrick's body, he killed Mr. Terrific, And so at the end of it, the villain got away. He jumped out of, Jay Garrick's body, and at the end of it, he got away. It's like, so this story never was revolved. I was like, well, that's kind of vague, So years and years later, 20 years, I guess, because that was in 77. This is 97. Yeah. You finally got to see what happened with that. You see the JSA is in this. You see a flashback to that story in the JLA. I'm going to pull it out here. Yeah, it kind of resolves that story. It kind of flashes back. That's where the original Mr. Terrific got killed. I really like Tom Mandrake's art. But, it goes back to that story. And then years later, I guess they're on Earth 2. And they're fighting along the Spectre, with the Spectre, to catch this guy. And they finally called him or killed him or something. But I love any kind of JSA appearance. So I get a resolution to that story. Plus, get to see JSA in action again. I guess they brought the original Mr. Terrific back to life in a zombie form. But what I'd forgotten was that also in this story, you get to see the first appearance of Michael Holt, a.k.a. the new Mr. Terrific. And I guess his wife has just died, and he's thinking about giving it all up. He's probably going to jump in front of a train there, looks like. But this is the first appearance of Michael Holt, and he has a run-in with the Spectre, and he tells him what's going on, and it all kind of folds into this other story. The Spectre is telling him about where the original Mr. Terrific got killed. And so at the end of it, you don't really see the suit he's got now, but you kind of see an early version of it there. So here you have it, the first appearance of the second Mr. Terrific, Michael Holt. Really great character. Loved him in JSA and just about anything else. But where the new Superman movie is coming out next year, Mr. Terrific is going to be in that. So this one, is going for stupid prices now. I just wanted it because I wanted to read the story, which is the only reason I want to buy a comic. I want to look at the cover. I want to read the story. But if it's going to be worth a few bucks later on, that's good too. All right, guys. If you were steadfast enough to sit through that, I really appreciate it. I appreciate anybody that comes by and listens to me yak about comic books. It's just, I'm having a lot of fun going through these boxes because, I'm a silver and bronze guy, but there's a lot of stuff in the 80s and up through the 90s and whatever that there's some really good stuff that kind of gets overlooked and some stuff that I've forgotten about. So, I'm having a lot of fun going through and reorganizing this stuff. So I'm probably going to pull out another box after this and get started on that. So I think I've got 5 or 6 boxes done. I'm doing it like in alphabetical order because there's some of these older boxes that I want to replace have got numbers on them. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be box A, B, C, blah, blah. So I'm up to box E now. So it's probably, 1,500 comics I went through already and a bunch more to go, unfortunately. But trying to enjoy the process. All right, guys, hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you guys are having a great weekend and staying warm because it is frigid here. It's about 8 degrees here in Kentucky, and we're going through a cold snap. Next week, it's going to be up in the 50s and rain. So, the old saying here is, if you don't like the weather in Kentucky, wait 15 minutes. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and hope to see you soon. Onward and upward.